Hi there. Thanks for choosing this beginner's level therapeutic exercise routine for the neck and TMJ. I'm Kristen, Doctor of Physical Therapy at Into the Light Healing and Bodywork. This exercise routine will be close to the ground, so let's get on the mat and we'll get started. Alright, we're going to begin laying on our backs. And we will start with some abdominal breathing here. So I invite you to find a pelvic neutral to begin. So to do that, we use the heel of our hand on that front hip bone that sticks forward just below the belly button and off to the sides. And then the pinky fingers are going to come in towards midline and kind of rest near the pubic symphysis, those bones just in the front, the bottom of the torso. So what we'll do here first is rock the sacrum so that the top of it comes forward, like towards the ceiling, sticking the belly up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to go in the opposite direction, tucking that tailbone under and pulling the belly down, the low back down towards the floor, kind of like you're flattening the floor again, flattening your back against the floor. So notice between these two extremes here, what feels like the halfway point to your body. So find that halfway point, and it's okay if you rock back and forth a few times. You find that halfway point and you find the level pelvis where the ASIS are level with the pubic symphysis. So in this posture, we're going to engage the muscles just a little bit to hold us in this pelvic neutral. And you can keep your hands here if you prefer, or they can just rest at your side. And what we'll do is practice some abdominal breathing. So really filling the belly up with air when we breathe in, pushing the belly up towards the ceiling, and then as we exhale, gently squeezing the air out. Almost like when you breathe in, you're filling a balloon in your belly with air, pushing the belly up towards the ceiling, and then as you breathe out, getting a little bit of a muscle contraction to engage there. Another way I've learned to teach it, I suppose, is by putting your hands on your low belly and saying ha ha ha, and then feeling in your hands, feeling those muscles in the lower abdomen, ha, when you say ha, feel how they engage and kind of pop into the hand. If you have strong abdominals, and if not, it'll be just a little, tiny little motion, and that's perfectly fine to start there. Anyway, what you do is try to re-engage those muscles as you breathe out, with or without the ha part. So deep breath in, and then engaging those abdominal muscles. Feel free to close the eyes here to minimize any distraction and focus on what the body is doing. It's great to train these muscles to activate for you because this is such an essential component of the core, which is essential for your spine, for keeping you upright against gravity. Okay, then I'm going to invite us to relax the breathing and bring the right hand, kind of maybe tuck it underneath the right thigh or buns, wherever your arm reaches to. And then we'll take the left hand and bring it to the top of the head and maybe even a little bit over towards the right ear. And then keeping the nose pointing up at the ceiling, we're going to use the hand to pull the left ear to the left shoulder, Pull the left shoulder blade down the back and see if you can get a little bit more range. Make sure we're keeping the nose pointing up at the ceiling here. A common tendency is to tip the nose towards the armpit, but I invite you to hold off on doing that until you get as much side bending as possible. And then we just rotate the head to the left. Notice here that when you do this, you start to activate or stretch the right upper trap, that muscle that tends to get real tight in lots of us when there's life, stress, anything happening. So I invite you to use the left hand to maybe accent or exaggerate the stretch just a little bit. It should be a moderate to strong stretch. We are not interested in inducing pain here. Stretching out that muscle helps to relax the areas of the neck that can cause imbalance and pull on the TMJ. And you might find that one side is more tense and tight than the other. When you come back to center, bring the left hand to the left side of the head to push it up. And then we're going to switch, kind of anchoring that left hand underneath the thigh or buns on the left, and then right hand comes to the upper left side of the head, just above the left ear, fingertips just above the left ear, and then we're going to keep the nose pointing at the ceiling as we pull the right ear towards the shoulder. Shoulder blade goes down the back. And inviting a nice stretch through the left upper trap. And then when you get as far over as your neck will allow, that's when we add the rotation, simply like we're turning the head, the nose to the right. Invitation to take some deep breaths here, returning to the abdominal breath, but we're not, whatever you choose. It's usually nice to take at least 30 to 90 seconds for a stretch, really allowing the connective tissue to release. Connective tissue that surrounds the tight muscle. This is a nice stretch to add throughout your day as well. If you can do it properly when sitting with an engaged and long spine, that's fantastic. Or if you need to take just a few minutes to lay down in the afternoon and stretch out your neck, I encourage you to do that. To bring the head back to neutral, we're going to push on the right side just above the ear. So we're using the hands instead of the neck muscles to return to a neutral position. Then from here, we're going to do a TMJ exercise to help control the opening and closing. So if you go to the opening of your ear and find, move forward a little bit, you'll find like a little bone, and then there's another bone just below it. That's your TMJ. So the sideways bone that comes forward into your face is the top part of the TMJ joint, and then the bottom part is this angle of the jaw down here. So you find that point, that little tiny indent where those two meet, and then as we open and close the mouth, we feel with the fingertips, with not pushing hard, mind you, just a gentle monitoring of the joint, gentle pressure. We feel as we slowly open and close the mouth what the joint is doing, and we keep it so that this is a straight line up and down with the jaw. So this one is also nice to practice in a mirror, so you can actually watch the mouth opening and closing. And we only want to go as far open as we can without causing that deviation or any pain in the jaw. So first, putting the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and then opening and closing the jaw. Okay, here we go. And it's not possible to talk during this one, so I'll be quiet for a little bit. Notice the left and right sides of the TMJs moving evenly or stopping when they start to become uneven. Stopping the opening, that is. Try to keep the rest of the body as relaxed as possible as you continue to practice opening and closing the mouth with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, monitoring your TMJs. Kind of surprising that such a small, subtle exercise can actually make a difference, but it does. We do this in physical therapy all the time. Okay, so letting go of that one. The next thing we'll do is an abdominal and neck strengthener. So tucking the chin towards the throat, we're going to reach one hand up towards the ceiling. Then with that throat engaged here, we're going to lift the head up, chin comes to chest, and we're going to reach that hand somewhere as if we are reaching, let's say, for an apple. And then we're going to do that with the other side after we come back and rest for a second. We'll just re-engage, lift, and reach for that apple. Continuing on here. You can keep going in the same spot, or you can find a different place to reach for, especially if there's a particular motion you have to do in your daily life, in your job. I like to try to do about the same angle, left and right, but that doesn't always work out. Okay, if this one is really easy, I usually feel this one in the front of my neck, but if this one's really easy and you want to challenge your core a little bit more, we can practice another exercise by crossing, let's say, the right ankle over the left. Left arm goes on the floor overhead. As we exhale, we're going to tuck the chin towards the throat, reach the right hand up towards the ceiling, and then lift the head, tuck chin, and the shoulder over so that we roll onto the left side. We want to do this by using the abdominal muscles only and not activating any muscles in the lower body. So we come back and then we try again. So tucking the chin towards the throat, lifting the head, and then bringing the body over onto the right side. Inhale here, and then as we exhale, we return, letting the lower body just kind of follow along with the activation of the upper body. And let's finish one more in here. Alright, then we're going to bring our hands alongside the body, and the knees are going to be bent up towards the ceiling. So you can either have palms down, or you can have elbows bent and fingertips pointing up at the ceiling here. We're going to have the feet about hip distance apart and as close to the buns as you can get them, or as is comfortable. And then we're going to lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling, engage the abdominals like you're doing that ha again, Engage those abdominals, lifting the pelvis up. And while you are here, press the head about 50% into the floor. Your choice now, if you would like to flow with your breath, exhaling, bringing the pelvis up towards the ceiling, and inhaling, lowering down. Or if you would like to provide a hold for your body and build some endurance here. So, whichever you choose. And another thing you can add if your elbows are bent and fingertips pointed up towards the ceiling is engaging the triceps by pressing the backs of the arms into the floor. Remembering whether you're flowing with your breath or keeping your pelvis lifted in a hold, remember to continue pressing the back of your head straight back into the floor. We are not looking up. We are, well, how do you describe that? We're not looking up. We're not extending our necks. We are looking straight at the ceiling, straight ahead, and pressing the back of the head into the floor. All right, let's go ahead and lower down. That was a long one. All right, next one, we're rolling onto our sides, either side. So I'm going to roll onto my left first. And you can use your arm as a pillow here if that's available to you to support your neck and try to keep your neck in line with the spine. Or if you have a pillow handy, that would be good too. What we're going to do here is either with one hand under your neck so that you can keep your spine in neutral, or with a pillow, having your hands together. So I don't have a pillow, so I'm going to have my hands like this. And I'm going to exhale, tighten my abdominal muscles, reach that hand forward, and then lift the hand up towards the ceiling, moving the arm, the hand in an arc, turning my head to watch my hand go back. As I get to my end range, I'm going to come back to center, still reaching my hand away from my body. Doing the best I can to keep my chin tucked towards my throat. Keep reaching out through the fingertips. Keep my hips stacked, abdominals engaged. This one's kind of nice to hold a stretch for the pecs here, open. Just make sure that top hip doesn't roll back too. I'd like to invite you to pause the video here and repeat as many of them as will feel good, and then resume with me on the other side. So I'm going to get to the other side. And we're going to repeat that motion, engaging the abdominals, hips stay stacked, lengthen the fingertips away from the body, turn the head to watch the hand as it arcs back over the shoulder. Trying to keep that hand over the shoulder, that's a good point. Keep that hand in line with the shoulder as much as possible. You might have a little bit of difficulty in some areas, and that's totally okay. Just be mindful about it and practice controlling the motion. Might be that area needs some extra attention. Hips stay stacked as the hand moves back. And then inviting a little extra stretch here if you choose. Keep that chin tucked towards the throat, hand supporting the head, or pillow supporting the head. And then we'll bring it back in and we'll come onto all fours. Alright, so when we're building our all fours, we want to make sure that our knees are directly underneath the hips and that our wrists are directly underneath the shoulders. The first one that we'll do here is a very subtle motion, so basically getting the shoulder blades down the back, belly is engaged, low ribs are knit together. We're creating a nice flat back here, and all that we will do is lift the back of the head up towards the ceiling. So it's almost like we're trying to glide the chin backwards as we are on all fours here. So notice a kind of a more relaxed position here. This is very subtle, and good job if you get this. And then we're just going to pull the back of the head up and release. Pull the back of the head up and release. Notice we are not looking up. We're not looking towards the far side of the room there. We're staring down at the mat, simply lifting the back of the head up towards the ceiling. And it's likely that if you're doing this correctly, you're creating like a double chin. You should feel this at the base of the skull, the top of the neck. Feel free to hold it up there if you'd like for a little stretch of those suboccipital muscles. Lengthening the tailbone and the top of the head in opposite directions, holding that contraction there of the suboccipitals, that stretch, excuse me, of the suboccipitals. And then as we hold this, we are going to lengthen the right arm forward, the left foot backward, and then if you're ready for it, I invite you to bring the left knee and the right elbow together and then apart. Flowing here, just bring them together and apart while being very mindful about the neck and retracting the head, which is the thing we were just practicing. Let's do one more crunch here, and we'll lower the left knee and the right hand, and we'll switch here. So let's reset while we're in center, pulling the shoulder blades down the back. Abdominals are engaged, low ribs are knit together, and then we're going to lift the left hand, keeping the pelvis level, reaching the right foot back, and then as we exhale, we're going to bring that elbow and the knee together, reaching in opposite directions. Keep that head retracted, reach in opposite directions. Abdominals stay engaged the whole time. There should be minimal rocking or movement of the spine. And let's do one more. And then hand and knee go back down. Reset, pulling the shoulder blades down the back. Head is retracted. And then we're going to cross the ankles, walk the hands back over the legs, and we will come in a sitting position here to simply return our focus to the alignment of the body. Becoming aware of the breath. Aware of the neck and of the TMJs. Invitation here to do any neck rolls if you need just a little something more. Rolling the head forward to the right, stopping when your ear's over your shoulder, and then forward and to the left. We're simply waiting in neutral. Thanks again for choosing this practice. The light and spirit in me honors and appreciates the light and spirit in you. Let peace be with you.